Look, I'll be honest, foolish of me, I guess, and I suppose to an extent we all live in a little bit of an echo chamber. I live in Connecticut, so I don't know how much of an echo chamber that can really be. Every time I go home, it's a lot of people that enjoy MSNBC and CNN. And by the way, that's great. I have no problem with that. But I thought that we might be kind of pulling out of some of the ridiculousness that we've seen over the last 3 years. The GOP just took over Congress. I think the GOP's chances, at least at the presidential level in 2024, are really good. Elon Musk bought Twitter. I thought that maybe some of this woke Davos ridiculousness might be coming to an end, but I was wrong. For more on what's going on with AT&T and DirecTV and NEWSMAX, let's welcome in former New York Congresswoman and NEWSMAX contributor Nan Hayworth, former Trump campaign aide and NEWSMAX contributor Rick Gates, and National Advisory Board member for Project 21 and radio host Chris Arps. You've all been on the show with me for more than 2 years now. Do you see this show, we'll say, just Wake Up America, do you see us, Nan, as a show that is, we're heretics, we're so far to the right that we're insane? Now, I know your answer is going to be no, but be honest. Are we totally out there on a different planet every morning?
No, not at all, Rob. In fact, I really do consider Wake Up America to be the most topical morning news program that Americans can watch. You stick to the issues. You have cogent commentators. You invite, in fact, folks who, the NEWSMAX has a lot of guests who are not in lockstep, certainly with a certain political party, and they provide their honest commentary, and you give them plenty of time to do that, and the topics you cover are relevant. So not at all. This certainly bids fair to sound very much like political bias on the part of AT&T and DirecTV, and we know what their affiliations are, and their actions certainly seem to be lopsided. And is it any surprise for any rational person witnessing what has happened in American life, having some of the curtains drawn away to witness the egregious bias, not only in media, but in institutions across the United States against voices who represent American traditional values and liberties?
Yeah, and I guess, Nan, I should have said that I don't have my hook in the water here. We're not fishing for compliments, so I appreciate you saying that. But I'll tell you what, my production team, we get ready every morning for this broadcast, and we're just trying to call balls and strikes. The American people are hearing the majority of what's going on. If we do a border story, they're hearing 10 stories that either are counter to what we're talking about, or for the last 2 years, only just recently did the rest of the media start covering the border. They're not hearing about it at all. I remember my own parents, who are likely waking up watching right now. Mom, Dad, good morning. They don't have DirecTV, by the way. They didn't know about the Hunter Biden laptop, Rick, before the 2020 election. And I remember having a conversation with my mom, and she said, wait, what is this all about? And I was like, there you go. There you go. It's a great example. Rick, to you, what AT&T is doing, if it does, by the way, it's not going to stop with NEWSMAX. But what was your reaction to hearing this news yesterday morning?
It's blatant censorship. But, Rob, it opens up the bigger question and the problem that conservatives have to continue fighting. And we can be angry, we can be frustrated. This is not the first time that big tech has done this. It won't be the last. But conservatives have to start fighting back more aggressively. We talked about it with Twitter, Facebook, when they deplatformed Trump. Elon Musk bought Twitter. That changed the dynamic of it. You've got to put money, you got to put resources behind these efforts by the liberals and the Democrats to basically censor voices. And to your point, it's not just about whether we're censoring Republican voices or Democrat voices. We've got to create platforms that everybody has the opportunity to share opinions and information, because without that, we're not teaching people, how to think. We need, that's exactly what we've got to do. And so as we move forward with this, we've got to continue fighting against this stuff. Republicans have to get much more aggressive in Congress in order to combat this.
Chris, difference between a conservative and a liberal. A conservative doesn't like what's on TV, they change the channel. A liberal doesn't like what's on TV, they want the channel canceled. And that's what NEWSMAX is going through right now. Just want to point this out. While everyone was sleeping last night, Donald Trump, who, by the way, just does not sleep. Rick, you worked with him for years. I don't know what time he goes to bed. He sent this out around midnight, this on his Truth Social platform. This is a big blow to the Republican Party and America itself. For DirecTV to drop very popular NEWSMAX without explanation will not be accepted. I, for one, will be dropping all association with AT&T and DirecTV. I have plenty. He's talking about his golf courses, different residences. He's got DirecTV at multiple different locations, and he's going to get rid of it. Chris, your reaction to everything going right now?
I think this is just corporate America once again choosing a woke agenda and deciding to piss off half of their audience and half of their customer base just to choose, just to please liberals and progressives. I think that DirecTV felt very confident when they deplatformed OAN a couple of years ago, and then they felt that they could do this with NEWSMAX, but I think they're going to get a far different reaction. NEWSMAX is very popular. NEWSMAX has all the guests that you see on all the other cable channels, and I think conservative Americans are not going to sit by for this. And I also think it's very curious that they make this decision with the Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scandal going on, and 1 year out from a presidential election.
Yeah, or at least the caucuses and the primaries. Good point, Chris. I hadn't considered that angle, but that's certainly part of this. The biggest one to me, and look, Blaine Holt wrote an op-ed for NEWSMAX.com talking about this, but AT&T owns DirecTV, all right? They also control Warner Brothers Media. You know who Warner Brothers Media controls? Well, Discovery, but also CNN. CNN's ratings have plummeted 90% in the last year. NEWSMAX has been on the uptick basically since, well, 2020. But right now, we're the fourth biggest broadcast cable news network that's out there. And it goes Fox, MSNBC, CNN, and us. And CNN is nervous about that, Nan. You look at some of the other networks, if you want to call them that, and I'm not trying to be small here. And I don't begrudge anybody that watches Newsy.
Right.
I didn't know what Newsy was until yesterday. Newsy. All right. NBCLX is geared toward millennials. You know, a lot of millennials watch TV news, don't they?
Absolutely.
Right?
No.
News Nation. So get this. If you sign up for DirecTV today, the basic cable package includes CNN, CNN Spanish, and CNN International, which I'm sure used to have Christine Amanpour. I don't know what that is, but apparently you get it if you sign up for DirecTV, their basic package.
Yes. Well, there are, if anybody takes their channel changer and they've got any of the cable networks, we have Verizon Fios at my house, and you click through, there are numerous channels. Cheddar is another one, and I'm glad to see a proliferation of news channels. We need that. We need news and opinion from all kinds of perspectives. So to single out NEWSMAX as DirecTV and AT&T have done, and yes, affiliations with CNN. CNN doesn't even have credibility on the left anymore, it seems, in a lot of cases. It indicates, again, that there is this, and Chris has referred to it, Rick has referred to it, there is this incredible bias, and it is at the top of the corporate food chain now. So these are the people who control an awful lot of investments. Yeah. They've got very cozy relationships with the party in power in Washington, which they still consider to be in many respects the Democrat Party. They are deeply invested in this. And yes, they are going to try to silence conservative voices because, as you said, there is a fundamental intolerance. Yeah. True conservatives are not like that. NEWSMAX isn't like that, but they are.
Yeah, and if you think this stops here, please send my regards to the Easter Bunny. Nancy Pelosi wanted this to happen. She wanted this to happen because of COVID misinformation. Come to find out that half the stuff we were talking about 2 years ago, did you see Joe Scarborough on Morning Joe talking about the vaccines being like, hey, it doesn't prevent COVID. It doesn't prevent COVID. I should have gotten my fourth booster because apparently he was in London with his wife and he gallivanting and he got a little less serious. If you're elderly, if you're overweight, get the vaccine, get boosted. But all the stuff we've been saying, a lot of times, the other networks eventually come around to as well. We'll pick this back up top of the hour. We got a lot more to get to, so thank you very much for your comments. Chris, Nan, Rick, thank you. Alex, over to you.
Thanks, Rob. Here's what we're watching for today. Well, President Biden is in Virginia today.